One wonders what on earth the Kremlin is up to, even trying to garner votes in what is very clearly a sham referendum.
Oh, completely sham referendum. Putin said he was going to do this. He's been saying this for a while. The conditions just haven't been right, but the Ukrainian counteroffensive have forced him into it. But I think they published the results of the referendum last Wednesday, which is a typical Russian approach to doing things. That was a parody account that was putting it out, but actually it reflects what's going on in the Kremlin. They've pre-decided this. It is a sham to try and put pressure on the international community with the threats that he's putting out. But more importantly, what he's trying to do is to bolster his support and show that Russia is still strong to his domestic audience.
Where does this leave the international community? Because, I mean, he's not only reiterated threats, but he said, I am not bluffing when it comes to potential nuclear strikes. Obviously, the more the West plays a role in this and continues to send weapons, the more successful the Ukrainian army is, the more dangerous Putin becomes.
The more dangerous in the short term Putin becomes. If the West doesn't continue to do that and allows Putin to gain some form of success or anything he can call success, from a much longer term perspective, he's going to become more and more and more dangerous. So we're on the horns of a dilemma here. It's the short term pain for the long term gain. And Putin's rhetoric is aimed at the two audiences. He has to show that he is still this bare-chested horse-riding leader that can take Russia forward and stand up to the West. But he's also trying to scare those Western countries that are not haven't got as much resolve in supporting Ukraine, or Western leaders that are doing that. And we only saw the comments from the former Italian leader Berlusconi last night, who was saying that Putin was forced into this war. It's that sort of thing that he's trying to do with his threats to the West. The most important thing that we can do now is continue our resolve, continue to supply what Ukraine needs, and actually up the ante so that the Ukrainians can take back their territory.
And what of the situation domestically for Putin? Because, I mean, there are reports that lots of young men and women of recruitable age are trying to get out of the country because they do not want to fight in this war. Do you think that's true, or is it wishful thinking on our part?
Well, there's a sea change in the reporting that's coming out of Russia, and we never know the truth because everything that is reported inside Russia is spun. But we're now beginning to see pictures of, as you said, individuals trying to get to the borders. We've got reports of there's no single flights out, the prices are going through the roof. There are pictures of protests happening inside Russia itself, and they're very small scale at the moment, but it's a start, and we haven't seen that beforehand. And this is a measure of how badly Putin's call-up has gone down, and it'll only get worse. Whenever Russia was forced out of Afghanistan many years ago, it was a populist rising coming from the bodies that were coming back and the mothers of the soldiers that started the rot that forced the Russian government to withdraw from Afghanistan. I think we're beginning to see the sort of the shoots of that happening here.
The West covertly working in Russia, do you think, to try to stir things up? Because it seems like if there's going to be a solution to this, it's got to come from inside the Russian borders.
Well, it's not just the West working covertly. There's a big information operation going on here. The Russians are fantastic at doing it. The nuclear threats. Jens Stoltenberg, the Secretary General of NATO, said that NATO is continuing to watch Russian nuclear build-up and all the rest of it, and has seen no change whatsoever, even after the threats. But that's part of Russia's information campaign. We're doing the same. And President Zelensky, last night was only saying to the Russians who are being called up, saying, try and destroy your armies from within. So it's the power of information in today's interconnected society is huge. And that's where there's a big battle going on at the moment.